Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today to cover the ongoing events of this officer-involved shooting. It's a tragedy. This investigation is ongoing. There's many moving parts, but we felt it important to come and give you an update from what we know up to this point. Our speakers today will start with opening remarks by Governor John Bel Edwards. Next will be Baton Rouge Mayor Kip Holden. Colonel Mike Edmondson will provide a status update and timeline of events. Next will be Sheriff Sid Gotro, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff, followed by Chief Carl Dabadie of the Baton Rouge City Police. And then our federal updates will be U.S. Attorney for Middle District Walt Green and the Special Agent in charge of the FBI in Louisiana, Jeff Sellette. We will be posting all of the pictures that you will see to the State Police Facebook page. We will open up the questions at the end of all the briefings, and I'll turn it over to Governor Edwards.
Thank you, Doug, and good afternoon, everyone. We wanted to have this press conference today to update you on what we now know about yesterday's horrific attack on law enforcement and actually on the entire Baton Rouge community. Specific information related to that attack will be given to you shortly, and then at the end of the presentation today, we will take some questions as well. First, and you all know this, it's no secret by now, but the shooter was, in fact, Gavin Long. That information was not given to you yesterday by us because it had not been forensically confirmed, as it was at about midnight last night. He's a 29-year-old from Kansas City, Missouri. He came in here from somewhere else to do harm to our community, and specifically to the law enforcement officers in our community. And what's telling about that is for 6 days prior to the violence of yesterday morning, there had not been a single arrest in Baton Rouge related to any protests or demonstrations arising out of the Alton Sterling shooting. At this point, state and local officials are partnering with federal agencies to keep people safe. And as governor of the state of Louisiana, I have no higher priority than public safety. And I am absolutely confident that we have a team on the ground to not only complete this investigation, but to maintain law and order and ensure the safety of our public, those people who live here and those people who are visiting. We have partnering with us federal agencies, some of which you're going to hear from today. I have spoken today with officials from the White House, and I will be in further communication later today with the United States Attorney General, and I want to thank them for their support at this time. I want to assure everyone that this investigation will leave no stone unturned. But what I know, the actions of the law enforcement officers of the Baton Rouge community yesterday were nothing short of heroic. They ran towards danger in order to protect the public. They ran towards danger in order to render aid to fellow officers. Yesterday, I visited with families at the hospital. I did so also last night. These were tremendous officers surrounded by loving families. These were good men. And we all know the story, but it bears repeating now. No greater love hath any man than to lay down his life for others. And so we're going to continue to mourn the loss of the 3 officers who were killed, and we're going to pray for the recovery for the 3 injured officers. This was a diabolical attack on the very fabric of society. And that is not hyperbole, that is not an overstatement. There is nothing more fundamentally important than maintaining law and order so that people can have good quality lives. And that's what he attacked, the very fabric of our society. And that is not what justice looks like. It's not justice for Alton Sterling or anything else that's ever happened in this state or anywhere else. It's not justice for anybody. It's certainly not constructive. It's just pure, unadulterated evil. And we're going to start our conversations here in Louisiana and around our communities with community leaders, law enforcement, government officials, faith leaders, so that we can find out together where we go from here. And there isn't any one of us who can fix this, but all of us can and will fix this problem. And certainly I don't have all the answers, and I know that it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And I know that we're going to come out of this stronger than ever and better than ever. There is no division in Louisiana. And make no mistake and let there be no doubt, we support our law enforcement officers and our law enforcement agencies. At Mass last night in the Diocese of Baton Rouge, they distributed the Peace Prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. And I just want to go over the first two lines of that. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. The kind of love modeled by all of these police officers yesterday. And I want to direct your attention as I sum up to the words of Officer Montrell Jackson from a Facebook post of July the 8th. And this is the last part of that post. Finally, I personally want to send prayers out to everyone directly affected by this tragedy. These are trying times. Please don't let hate infect your heart. This city must and will get better. I'm working in these streets, so any protesters, officers, friends, family, or whoever, if you see me and need a hug or want to say a prayer, I got you. I'm going to be followed by Colonel Edmondson. He's going to give you a lot more specific information, as will the other presenters here at this press conference. And then, as I mentioned earlier, at the end of the conference, we will take some questions.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, Mayor?
Good afternoon to everyone, and let me thank all of you for being here for us and getting our messages out to people all across the country. This has been, a trying day and a half for all of us. But let me again, all of these law enforcement professionals that are here today are making sure that they get as much as we need to make sure that if there are others out there, we bring them to justice as well. Let me compliment them for the diligence that they've shown in this role of making sure we have all of the facts as we move forward. Let me also say, this morning, mayors from across the country have been calling all day since early this morning. From Boston to Los Angeles, they've been calling. But you also have Orlando, where the mayor is still reeling from the disaster that happened in their city. But they are saying to Baton Rouge, just let us know what you need and we will be there. Mayors from all over the city. But the most touching call came from Mayor Rollins of Dallas. Mayor Rollins said, Mr. Mayor, last week we were going through the same thing that you all are going through this week. It is going to be tough for you and the families of these officers. And it's going to be tough as we try to bring our city back together. But know that we stand ready to hold hands with you and let people know that it's going to be tough, but you will not be walking alone. But Mayor Rollins also said this to all of the law enforcement people, and many of the other mayors have said the same thing. We want you to know that when we find the details of funeral services, we will have representatives in Baton Rouge to be here for you, law enforcement as well as government. So today, we thank them for reaching out to us. They feel our pain, and many have witnessed the same kind of suffering. And I'll just leave you with this. People said, how are you all going to come back and, take it from this punch in the stomach? And so I thought about it this morning, and so I said, well, all you have to do is look at Job. Job faced all kinds of atrocities in his life. And there were a lot of people saying, oh, just, give up, man. God is not looking out for you. Just give up. And then all of a sudden, even Job's wife tried to turn him against God. But Job made the statement, yea, though you slay me, I will rise again. Yea, though you have slain some law enforcement officials, this city, this state, and this nation will rise again. Thank you, and God bless you.
I'm Colonel Mike Edmondson. What I want to go to with y'all is kind of an update of the case itself. We told you yesterday that we would provide new information. I think you're going to see that as we move forward. We're just a little more than 24 hours ago when he brought us all together. I want you to think about that and what's transpired over that time. So right at 30 hours. It was an ordinary Sunday morning. What happened after that was anything less than that. What we saw was extraordinary police officers, first responders, become extraordinary, become heroes. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Our hearts are broken, but our spirit is intact. Our soul has survived an unthinkable crime committed against this community. What we're going to see as we progress through this, and we're going to talk about each one of these, is you're going to see some photos. We'll come right here. We're going to go through some photos of actual scenes. We're going to go through a mapping in just a minute, because my intention here this afternoon is to take our viewers, our public, our community. I want to walk them through exactly what they were going through. You saw what was reported on TV. It was chaotic. Active shooters, multiple active shooters all over the area. People were scared, they were worried, they were concerned. We're going to walk them through it, and you're going to see unfolding in front of you exactly what happened that day. In this ongoing investigation, the most compelling piece of evidence is the video. It is the chilling and the sheer brutality of the shooting. There is no doubt whatsoever that these officers were intentionally targeted and assassinated. It was a calculated act against those who work to protect this community every single day. That indeed, ladies and gentlemen, is the shooter. That is engagement. You'll see that his movements are articulated, they're intact, they're combative, and they're real. We are building a timeline from 8:40 yesterday morning and working backward to determine where the suspect has been. As the lead agency, the Louisiana State Police is going wherever this investigation takes us. We are working hand in hand with the assistance of police, both the Baton Rouge Police Department, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office, our federal partners within Louisiana and around the United States. This timeline, which will take us from 8:40, beyond, going backwards from that, and we're going to look at who he may have been associated with or spoken with, and if anyone else was involved in this assault or had any advanced knowledge of his intentions. However, we are confident that this suspect was the only shooter at the scene actively involved in the attack. Whether officers may have been involved in some other fashion remains to be determined. We do not believe the suspect has been in our community for at least several days. We do believe that. You're going to see the gun photo. This is the actual weapon. This is the one that killed those officers. You see the strap that he carried on him. That strap kept that rifle in place so that when he engaged those police officers, they were deliberate and they were extremely accurate. With respect to the weapons, 3 guns have been recovered, and those are being analyzed both through forensics and determining the ownership history. What you see there is he was armed with an IWI Taver SAR 556 caliber rifle. He was also armed with a Springfield XD 9.9 millimeter caliber pistol. There you see it in front of you. And also a Stag's Arm M4 variant 556 caliber rifle that was staged on the vehicle. It actually placed him inside the vehicle where he could get to it once he was parked. We're going to take you through that in just a couple of moments. A Chevy Malibu rental from Missouri was recovered from the scene. We are working to determine where the car has been and are continuing to process it for its evidence. What we're doing, With the phone that we have at the scene of this car, we're looking at the footprint. Where did it go? What areas did it go to? Where did that car come from the Missouri area? And we'll take it wherever it takes us. One of the most challenging or more challenging aspects of the investigation is examining the social media footprint of the suspect. It appears that he used social media extensively. You saw after the shooting yesterday when he is deceased, when he has been killed by Baton Rouge police. Someone was still actively on a Facebook page that they had created to say that he was still alive. Those are the things we were dealing with. And even though many in the media discounted that and said it's a hoax, we cannot take it that way, which is why we didn't release his name immediately, even though most of y'all had that particular name. We want to go through an evidentiary factor to where we, from forensic standpoint, we can take his fingerprints. Those were back through Missouri. We were able to work with the FBI and obtain prints from his military background where we could positively identify. So just because it's read about doesn't mean we haven't sought after it, investigated it, and vetted it. But before we release it, it's going to be based on fact, not on rumor. Multiple other pieces of evidence has been seized, and we are deploying all investigative methods to exploit their evidentiary value, including forensics, electronics, ballistics, and behavioral examinations. We continue to ask anyone who has information related to the suspect or his motives to call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Same number as yesterday, 1-800-CALL-FBI. We're asking for your help in protecting the integrity of this investigation, and while there's much more that we know, there's also much that remains to be learned. This is a big puzzle. You're looking at a crime scene, which we're going to go into in just a minute, it's probably 300 to 400 yards. To meticulously go through that takes time, and that's what you're dealing with right here. We owe it to these officers. 3 officers are dead. 1 is fighting for his life. We owe it to them to do it right and to get it right. We owe that to them. And I think that the public demands nothing less. What I want to do just real quickly, I'm just going to, just so you get a picture of where we're at on this particular one. This gives you an idea of where Airline Highway going northbound towards Baton Rouge Police Headquarters. You see Fitness Expo, even though this is an older picture, we just put this together because we want y'all to have something. We want the viewers to see this. This is where Fitness Expo is, Benny's Car Wash, the BQ Quick, where he first was tried to engage a Baton Rouge police officer, Party City, this location, back right here is the Beauty Salon, where we're going to walk through the situation exactly how it happened. We believe while this individual was in the city, he was looking for locations to specifically target police officers. No doubt in my mind, you're going to see as we walk through this, there were citizens walking all through the area. He never encountered, he completely dismissed every single one. His intentions were accurate, and they were engaging, and they were all aimed at police officers. When he first comes into the area, this particular BQ mark, this location, you had a sheriff's deputy, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's deputy, who was working extra duty detail. He provides security to this location. He goes to multiple locations. He was at this location. A Baton Rouge City police officer, the Mork unit, was parked right here. As he came by, Gage, he came into the area. He took his car and parked it right here along this area. And we saw it because we could see the shadow. Multiple cameras in this location, the shadows. He comes right here. He's tactically moving along the back part of that building, watching what's going on around him. He's got that gun. You saw the earlier pictures where he's got that gun, where he's going forward. He's holding that in there. As he comes into it, he goes straight for this car. As he gets to the car, I think this was most chilling to the sheriff and to the chief, because as he approaches that car, he engaged into a manner like this towards the car. He then sees that there's no one in it. What he then comes back, gets back in his car, comes back on the highway, and he's coming down. He noticed a Baton Rouge police officer that is vacuuming his car at Benny's Car Wash. He sees that. He pulls into the Fitness Expo, comes back around and talks to his car right here. Keep that in mind as we go back to this in just a few minutes. He then comes out. This police officer has left the scene. He left the scene that time. He then starts making his way back around, comes back around through the area, comes back over here. At this point now, that's when the calls had come in to say that there was an individual the exact words, a dude with a rifle going down Airline Highway. So people are engaged, the police have gotten to the scene now. They go to where he went a while ago. They actually go this way. He comes in along the side here, and he works his way again down this side right here. He actually at this end, this corner right here, instead of going right around the corner, he actually comes out to where he's tactically involved, ready to fire. He comes back around, these two Baton Rouge police officers and a sheriff's deputy come back over here. Because remember, that's where he was running. That was the location he was going into. When he came back around, these two Baton Rouge police officers were right here standing. He shot both of them. One falls right here, this location. Another one moves himself back around here. This one is dead. This one is wounded at this point. He comes back around. A deputy that was with them, he goes back to a dumpster in this area right here and kind of hides behind the dumpster. He waits there and takes cover in that location with his gun drawn. He's got a clear view on this police officer that is wounded right here and is lying there. He can see him moving. We see that in the video. He comes back around and he starts going to aid. Now think about this. He hears and has heard the gunshots. He saw the guys in that area. This sheriff's deputy, he leaves his cover with his gun drawn. He goes back to that place. That's what we're trained to do. We're trained to take care of our own. He is going back to help that police officer. Guy's coming back around. He sees he's dead. He comes back in, and as the deputy's coming in, the shooter comes around this corner right here. At that point, he sees the deputy. He shoots the deputy. Shoots him right there. He sees movement on this guy right here and shoots him. So he's killed those three. He then tactically moves back on around and comes running through this area. Somehow gets over this wall. We believe there's an air conditioning unit, goes into this area here, makes his way back around, back to where his car is. At this point, you've got a sheriff's deputy that's sitting in his car. He'd gotten out, he'd gotten the license plate. He was going back in it to run the license plate. He's sitting in his car. When he comes back out, he shoots the deputy in the car. That's the one that's fighting for his life right now. Shots to the upper torso, and you're going to hear that from the sheriff in a few minutes. When he's making his way around, he's going to it. No doubt in our mind. There's police officers coming in here. He shoots a police officer and wounds him right here. Real quick, a deputy back over here. And when he was shooting back over here, these two police officers, something got his attention. A city policeman that was responding, he actually shot and wounded this city policeman right here. 3 dead, 1 injured at this location. Shoots the deputy in the car. He is going back at this location. He is going back to the deputy he shot in the car, which is back over here. At this point, he shoots and wounds a police officer in this location right here. Let me just tell you something. The responding Baton Rouge Police SWAT team, from this location right here, as this gunman is coming across right here, that is the fatal shot where he shot the shooter, over 100 yards. Think of the presence of mind in taking this shot right here. And that kind of leads you and puts you in a position where the viewers can see exactly what was unfolding based on what they heard on television, what they saw in the news, and they heard everybody talking about it. And what I want to do is certainly have Sheriff Gautreaux and Chief Dabney come up to talk about their officers and kind of give you a little more rundown of where those officers were to the best of our ability. Keep in mind, it's an ongoing investigation. You've heard this from us all the time. The public has a right to know, and we want to give that an ability. But you also want to protect the integrity of the case and where it is leading us to. A lot of moving parts, a very large puzzle. Some of those pieces are moving. So please keep that in mind as we provided this information to you.
Sheriff.